Okay, chat. So the first thing I want to do for Zibai is we're gonna have just normal default Zibai, which is gonna be Zibai, Illuga C2, I think is the reasonable assumption. Columbina, and I don't know if Gorou C6 is a reasonable assumption, honestly. I think it's not. Because I feel like Gorou's only been on bad banners. Anyone know what banners Gorou's been on? Ito Chiori? Is that it? Mizuki? Has he been on banners with Ito where like he was running with someone else that was good? Like, or something? Wanderer. Okay. Well, yeah. So I feel like a lot, like not that many people have cons on Gorou, or like high cons on Gorou, because he's just only been on banners people have wanted to skip. So what would be the reasonable assumption then? Yeah, I don't really want to do Zhongli because honestly, I feel like there's gonna be a pretty big difference in team DPS based on whether the pillar gets destroyed or not with Zhongli, and I don't know if I want to bother with that shit. You know, I know definitely not. That's a definitive no, thank you. Kachina. The thing is, Kachina's just not very good. All right, like what does Kachina provide? Can you do Xilonen? Xilonen doesn't work here unless you have C2. Xilonen needs to have 2 source samples activated of other elements to shred Geo. Scroll, but Scroll doesn't do anything for Zibai. Most of her damage doesn't benefit from it. Chiori. The thing is, Chiori just sucks. Durin is not good at all here now. Because if you apply Geo twice, like if your Geo application timing ends up happening right after Columbina, Durin will hit Pyro onto an enemy that doesn't have aura. And if he does, you end up with a Pyro aura, and then you stop Lunar Crystallizing. And then you're just completely cooked, actually. Starting to think we're cooked. You're saying no to everyone. It's not that no one's good. It's that the characters that work well here are either like unpopular, cringe to calc, or just not that powerful as a whole. Just use Sucrose. I mean, honestly, Sucrose wouldn't be bad. Like, over 200 EM is a lot of EM, you know? If you had Witch Resonance, Albedo would go well here, but you don't. Same for Mona, yeah. Yeah, we could do Ineffa. Right, okay, here are the options that will go well, right? Zhongli, Gorou, Ineffa. That's kind of it, right? For the things that, like, actually makes a lot of sense. And then the options that are, like, okay, would be, like, GMC, Sucrose, Aino C6, I guess, if you have it, but, like, Chiori, Mona's not good. Mona would be good if she could get the witch buffs in this team, but you don't want to sacrifice either of these. Both of them are too good for Zibai. I generally don't think C6 Gorou is a bad assumption, since many people who play Geo characters will pull Zibai too. I mean, yeah, but like, what you're saying is many of the 3 people who play Geo characters will pull for Zibai too, but like, many of 3 is like 2. Most people still weren't playing Geo to begin with. Not because Geo is ugly, but because we haven't had good Geo characters yet, you know? I guess we can look at Zhongli for now, I guess. Wonder what set bonuses you go here. You don't really have anyone on a good, like, you don't really have any good sets, right? So I guess you Instructor Zhongli, because he won't be primary trigger anyways, so he doesn't need stats. I wonder if it's ever a golden troop angle. SMS Zhongli, 2 PCM, Illuga. I don't know if that's good. We'll think about that. For now, we do not assume Harbinger. We'll assume Flute of Espitzel. Illuga ER requirements are probably too high for Dragon's Bane here. You do get 12 energy refund, so his burst is only 48, but I'm pretty sure you want to go Fav anyways. Just go Kitane. I'm pretty sure Fav is better because, like, Zibai cares about the energy. Like, from what I've looked at, it seems like Zibai's rotations are a little cooked when she doesn't have burst because she's kind of forced into waiting. The way that her radiance builds up, it doesn't end up building up at perfect intervals to do N4E. It's a little too slow for N4E. So if you just use your skill to enter your stuff and then start doing N4E, you'll do N4, wait a tiny little bit E. N4, wait a tiny little bit E. N4, wait a tiny little bit E. But I'm pretty sure if you do EQ, the Q animation allows the thing to build up enough that you can N4E without having to wait a single time 4 times after that. And it effectively means that you get to get the whole burst without extending your rotation, right? The burst animation, the time you're using for the burst animation without burst would otherwise be used just kind of staring at enemies. So the burst is like straight up free to you, basically. So you actually care about getting energy on her. So I think Fav is better on the supports most of the time. It's Nefer all over again, kinda, but her burst is better than Nefer's. Is it ever worth doing 2 N4E? I don't think so. You don't want to spend any more time on field with her than necessary. You want to use your E as soon as you can. It's not that you want to use your E as soon as you can every time, is that you want to make sure that you use the 4th E as early as possible. If doing a second N4 before the first E doesn't make you overflow your bar, then that's probably fine, but I don't know if it does or not. Anyways, I think we go Fav on Columbina as well and Fav on Zhongli as well. And the ER requirements to burst every rotation in this team was like 135, I think. So what I was assuming is you get your burst because you can kind of use your burst. Although I don't know if you can actually use your burst whenever here. So is she not allowed to dodge during attack string? I mean, she doesn't really want to dodge, but it's not the end of the world because the N4 itself is kind of pathetic damage anyways. Right, like the motion value is like 50 and the E motion value is like 300. Like maybe we just build a bit of ER. Like maybe that's the play. First, let's take a look at burst every other rotation like this. Okay. And then sets we have have Sky, we have Serenades, we have Dawn, and we have... I'm not sure about this one. I think it's Instructor, but I am not certain. That seemed low. When it was 18, it was 86k. No, that still seems... Maybe I just had some major fuck-ups in my calcs yesterday. Who knows? Maybe Gorou is just that good. True! Let's finish this calc before we try to figure out what went wrong, if anything went wrong. Okay, Fav Columbina. Do you need ER sands here? Probably not, right? Around 170 ER requirements. Fav is giving you 45. Yeah, you don't need ER sands, so 2 HP main stats. How does Zibai still burst every other rotation? For now, I'm just looking at burst every other rotation, but I don't think that's what actually happened. We'll take a look though. Damage time DPS. Okay, then we have Zhongli. Oh boy. Let's do Illuga first, actually. Total damage. Yeah, and then Zhongli. All right, and then should be able to just copy this. Yeah. So yeah, if we're assuming that you do 20-second rotations with this team, we'd be at 121k. But I gotta double check things here. One thing I want to check as well is what happens if you go Golden Troop Zhongli. This is a little bit worse, unfortunately. Damn. All right, unlucky. Let's take a look at a couple other things with similar assumptions. All right, so I was using Flute of Espitsal. Let's look at Harbinger because we're using Zhongli, so I think it's reasonable to go Harbinger. With Harbinger, that's plus 10k team DPS already. If we assume you burst every rotation without changing ER requirements yet, not that much. Problem with Harbinger here is if you ever go below 90%, there's no coming back. Yeah, just don't get hit. Honestly, maybe we just give up on the Fav angle. We just keep Q every other rotation. Columbina on Amber, Illuga on Butane. We're gonna need ER main stat with Amber. We get the Amber substat, which is almost as much, so it's fine. And then Illuga gains 110 EM. It's a little bit better with this. Yeah, that makes sense. We're a little bit over 130k here. Let's look at Gorou. We'll look at C6, but we'll also look at non-C6 after. Yeah, that makes sense. What the hell? That's so funny. Minus 34 DPS. True. But yeah, the fact that you're not full uptime on the defense buff is what makes the difference here. Were yesterday's calcs a fraud? A little bit, yeah. Anyways, let's take a look at Illuga C6 now. So this should be it, right? Seems like she's ranging between like 120 and 145, 150. We're gonna take a look at Ineffa as well. That's gonna be a pain in the ass, isn't it? Okay, so I have Ineffa at a pretty similar amount total, but I'm not entirely confident on if there's a chance you get more lunar charges during setup when you don't have the geo going yet. It seems like Zhongli and Ineffa are pretty similar. Gorou is about as good, but Zhongli and Ineffa make Harbinger actually kind of a real thing, and Gorou kind of doesn't. So you'd rather, if you don't end up going for her sig, you'd rather use one of the shielders. But if you do get the sig, it doesn't matter. Hear me out, Llama in the last slot, that won't work. The Dendro will prevent you from triggering Lunar Crystallize, and you're not going to do any damage on Zibai. Alright, that seems reasonable. Okay, who else do we want to look at? Like, what else do we want to look at right now? Yeah, I guess we can take a look at what happens for people who don't go for Columbina, right? So let's take what is, like, arguably the best team here. So let's look at the one with Zhongli and see what happens if you go Aino instead. Okay, so with Aino, you're like 35 to 40k behind Columbina. This is with Illuga C6, Aino C6, 118k. Illuga C2, Aino C1, 95k. Like, that's reasonably high, but like, yeah, it's not not cry, you know. Fine, I'll do C2 Xilonen. Stop fucking asking, man. I'm shortcutting it though. I don't care. Like, I don't care enough about it. What stat does Xilonen give? Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's so sad, actually. What the fuck? So C2 Xilonen will be fairly similar. Oh yeah, you'll also get like some Nullcry resonance stuff, so it should be a little bit better. I don't care enough though. She'll be usable, but not really like better. It'll just be one of your options. I'd rather run a shielder though. Does C2 Xilonen heal on a triple geo team? No, right? Yeah, that's good. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. What do her cons even do? I haven't looked. Huh? They're not great. Are you sure? Because that looks pretty good. Like 15% team DPS. There's no way. There's no way that's true. When okay, 50 defense and 100 motion value. Is that 100 motion value on each E? You telling me these cons are bad? There's no way. Not each E, once per E. The passive talent, the Selenic Adeptus Descends, gains the buff, the following buff. Damage is further increased based on 100% of her defense. And that's this passive that buffs every E. So, no. We can do some quick calcs on it, honestly. I don't mind. Let's take the Zhongli team. Zibai, C1. I think at C1 you stop using burst, right? Because you don't really want to use the burst to wait out time anymore, because you start with 100, which effectively means you're kind of starting with like 30 after your first extra skill, right? So at C1 we remove the burst, but instead we get one more E. Why would you do this? Which also means one here, and it also probably means, but 1.6%. Did I? You're right. My bad. But it also probably means that you're getting shorter rotation, because casting skill is much faster than casting burst. You probably get 19-second rotation. It's about an 18 to 19 second or per second. And then C2. Oh wait, I'm an idiot. I'm comparing to Ineffa, not Zhongli. My bad. Okay, maybe you were right then. Am I stupid? It's 16%. Huh, I guess I am an idiot. GG. C2. C2 gives 50 defense percent and 500 motion value, right? So about 20 something percent. 15 defense is just very split. Yeah, I guess there is a good amount of the damage that's coming from Illuga and from the Lunar Crystallize reaction and from Columbina. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. What about Sig? So 20% defense and 64 reaction damage. Yeah, Sig is worse than C1. If you have Harbinger, Sig is worse than C1. Okay, look at Uraku. It won't be that good because like damage percent doesn't matter. So it's basically just 20 defense, which is fine. But yeah, so getting C1 is a 16% increase. Getting Columbina over C6 Aino is a 30% increase. What about Columbina cons? I guess we can take a look at that as well. Sure. Columbina C1. What does that shit do again? So we get one more of these and we get a shield. We already have a shield. This won't be that good, right? Let me also already do this. So we just get one more. It's literally just, and then 3% elevation. So this is times 4 now. Yeah, multiplier 1.24 instead. So it's 6% increase. Not that good. Columbina Sig. I don't even know what it does. Crit damage, increase HP, energy, increase HP. Oh, is this just a personal damage Sig? Huh, that's sad. So Sig, we don't have this anymore. We do have 10%. No, 24%. 60 crit damage. No, 148.2 CV. A lot of CV. So her Sig is better than her C1, but it's not as good as Zibai C1. But it's actually pretty competitive with Zibai's Sig if you're running Harbinger, which is really funny. It's very, very funny. It doesn't matter because you're going to use Fav and Sigin anyways. True! Is the energy from Sig enough for no ER main stat? No. No, it is not. Am I missing out on something? Why is everyone using Harbinger on her? Because it's really good on her. Harbinger's passive is 56 crit value. Let's look at what's a weapon that has a good passive. It's just a lot, man. It's just a lot of fucking stats. It's almost a full main stat of crit on a weapon. And it's like balanced by the fact it's a 3-star, so it has really low base attack. But guess who doesn't scale with attack? It's just a really good stat stick for characters that aren't attack scalers or characters that use Bennett, so base attack matters less. Or C1 and C2 Columbina mid. Well, they're not very good in these teams because they're mainly focused on increasing her personal damage. Or, well, like, yes, okay. Let me up about it a little bit, actually. These effects kind of suck. So the main thing that actually matters here is that when you cast kill, you get an extra effect, right? So it's just like times 1.3-ish to her personal damage. A little bit less than that because like she also has a bit of personal damage outside of the lunar damage. But yeah, I guess the shield is nice, but because the best last slot is a shielder anyways, it doesn't really matter that much. Without Zhongli, is it easy to keep her HP above 90%? With Ineffa, it's pretty easy. With Gorou, it's not, which is why with Gorou, I've been assuming Espitzal instead. Okay, what the fuck is a new player gonna do if they want to get Zibai? Because they probably don't have Zhongli. Like, you started playing the game very recently. You like Zibai. You haven't really gotten any characters for her specifically. What are you gonna use? GOMC, I guess? Yeah? Can't use Harbinger if you do that. It could be Sucrose as well, yeah. Would you even assume Columbina? No, I'm looking at Aino right now. Noelle? No. Noelle is not good here. MC is getting a buff, but I don't think it's enough. Like, GOMC is a small crit rate buff, but that's kind of it. So what are you left with? It might just be C0 Gorou, straight up, because you're kind of cooked, honestly. But then that's no healer. I don't know if I like that. I guess we ditch Aino then. Yeah, we ditch Aino then, so we can bring a Hydro healer. Is it Barbara? Surely it's not Barbara, right? Oh, it might be Barbara, chat. It might be Barbara, chat. Dahlia doesn't have the Hydro app you need. We could do Singtao, but man. Broto, Amber, Ning. Okay, get back in. Like, get out of the kitchen, man. That's enough. Kokomi, but a new player probably won't have Kokomi, right? Honestly, I think if you're a new player, you kind of just don't want to get Zibai by herself. You either get Zibai and Columbina or you skip. Because I'm pretty sure you have to go Barbara here if you want some form of defensive utility. It's like Instructor Barbara with Sack, and then Gorou, Serenade, Fav, Gorou, C0, right? Oh yeah, Barbara can't proc Instructor. That's true. But she also can't proc Serenade. Barbara's just bad. Dude, are we just cooked? Just do Lanyan? Okay, but then we still have to bring a Hydro. So we're replacing Gorou with Lanyan. Dahlia, same problem. Those characters do not apply Hydro. We need a character that applies Hydro. I know Lanyan, but then you have a character on your team that's not doing anything. But I guess you could. Things out for damage reduction. A lot of new players aren't comfortable with the only defensive utility being Singtao, so I don't know about that. Why Lanyan over Dahlia? I mean, it doesn't really matter. They both do literally nothing. Why nothing? More N4 lunar procs, but you don't want to do more than one string in between each E, and you're gated in terms of how fast you can do your E by things outside of just normal attack. So you don't actually gain anything from the attack speed. Even if you got one more N4, the N4 fucking tickle. It barely does anything. Hydro MD that. Oh boy. Yeah, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure if you want a defensive option, it just has to be a defensive option that does nothing offensively, right? I guess you could use Yahuda, right? Like, you're not Hydro infusing her shit, but she's still still a healer that gives 100 EM. So like, it's not bad. I guess we can take a look at that. Sure. I know on Bell, that's not how that works. The Bell shield can't be like given to another character. It just goes away when you swap out. But then you don't have the fucking Nullcry resonance, do you? So the 100 EM from Yehuda is probably worse than the Nullcry resonance from someone else, right? Ditch Aino? Maybe, yeah. And then what do we do instead of Aino? Thingto, I guess? Sure. Probably then Dalian. No, because you don't want to have to use Yehuda Holy. These teams' rotations get cooked if you do. But Singso's like HP is going to be pretty low. So it's not going to give you that much. Honestly, let's just look at Yehuda for now. Whatever. Like, it is what it is. Yehuda doesn't have any fucking personal damage, honestly. I don't think I need to calc anything for this. So we're at 80 something K. Yeah, that's not very good. I mean, it's fine, but like, it's alright for a 1 cost. Yeah, it's fine. It's nothing impressive, but it is like usable, I guess. Is Zibai cooked without Columbina? She's not cooked without Columbina, because like, okay, let's put it this way, okay? Zibai without Columbina is a tiny bit behind like Nefer without Columbina. But Nefer is out right now without Columbina, and she's pretty good. So yeah, like Zibai basically just doesn't have a llama. She likes Columbina just as much as the other Nullcry carries, but she doesn't have a llama you need to get. So I think she's a bit more approachable for new players. Like yeah, her llama equivalent is Illuga, right? But he's a 4-star who's gonna be on her banner. And with C2 Illuga, she's better than like Nefer without llama. Noticeably so.
Deuce on the loose.
Yeah.
Deuce on the loose.
Who's on the loose?